Earlier this week, Apple began selling refurbished versions of the iPhone SE, its nearly 3-year-old, 4-inch smartphone modeled after the iPhone 5S, at a $100 discount. It was the second round of recent sales after an initial batch sold out the previous weekend. And like any budget-adverse tech journalist with an impulse-buying compulsion, I felt this was the appropriate moment to hop on the backup phone bandwagon. So I bought one. I've always appreciated the classic 5S design, with its overtly rounded corners and its sturdy, not-so-delicate dimensions. It never felt like it really required a case, and its smaller screen and more comfortable, one-handed use is something I've thought far too much about as I've ferried around an iPhone X and now an XS over the past year and a half. Plus, it's got a headphone jack. I purchased a space gray model, with 32 gigabytes of storage, purely because I want to pop my nano SIM into it on nights and weekends when I don't want the full 5.8-inch iPhone XS screen taunting me to open Instagram and Twitter 24 times in any given hour. I plan to keep Spotify, Google Maps, and maybe a few reading, podcasting, and news apps on it, but nothing else. No Slack, no Twitter, no Instagram. None of that. I want the phone to function mostly as a phone, instead of as the always half-open window into a digital life I'd rather leave behind when I shut my laptop down every evening. More broadly, I'm trying to figure out if the problem is mostly me, or mostly my device and the apps I use. Or equal amounts of both, because no matter how well-meaning Apple and Google's approaches to mindfulness can seem, both companies profit in one way or another from your continued and never-ending smartphone use, be it through ads on the Google search window or the persistent, nagging feeling that you might as well upgrade to the newest iPhone for fear of being left behind. The inspiration here is not a novel one. Since renders of the original light phone hit Kickstarter way back in 2015, the minimalist phone movement has cycled through various stages of nostalgia for the pre-smartphone era, when flip phones reigned supreme and the BlackBerry was about as featured a device as you could buy. The most recent collective yearning to dial back our complex relationship with technology was around the new Palm phone, a tiny 3.3-inch phone that piggybacks off your Verizon number. Almost everyone I've talked to about the device seems to agree that they'd buy it in a heartbeat if it were widely available beyond Verizon, and perhaps a little cheaper than its current $349.99 price. The immense interest in the device was yet another sign that the minimalist phone movement is here to stay,